Maybe Caitlin Clark not playing for Team USA at the Olympics turned out to be a blessing in disguise. In her first WNBA game back after the break, she put on one of the best performances of her career. She definitely heard all the talk, not just from Diana, who said, "Reality is coming," but also from the Mercury's social media, where they claimed they'd prefer their 6-time gold medalist.
Reality is coming. You look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're gonna come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time. I'm taking Paige. Next question.
So if you had the #1 pick this year, you would take Paige over Caitlin?
Absolutely.
I'd be curious to know if they still agree after this game, because reality has definitely set in. Caitlin Clark might just be the best point guard in the WNBA. Diana Taurasi learned that the hard way, and you'll see why in this video. Right from the first play, Aaliyah Boston shows she's in mid-season form, chasing down a missed 3 from Mitchell and putting up the first points for Indiana. On this next play, all 3 of the Fever's all-stars get involved. Clark makes an entry pass to Boston in the post, who quickly scans over her left shoulder and delivers a perfect bounce pass to Mitchell, cutting across the baseline, who finishes with a smooth reverse layup. You can really see the chemistry between Clark and Boston here. Clark hesitates just long enough to give Boston time to get into position, then threads a bounce pass around Griner's outstretched arms, and Boston lays it in off the glass. It's a strong start for the Fever, forcing the Mercury into an early timeout. Phoenix finally gets something going, and when all else fails, they turn to Brittney Griner. She rises above the defense and sinks a fadeaway jumper over 2 defenders. Speaking of shooting over defenders, watch as Caitlin comes off a screen from NaLyssa and lets one fly from NBA range, knocking down her first 3 of the game. When Caitlin starts hitting from deep early on, it's never a good sign for the other team. Kahleah Copper is showing why she was such a key player for Team USA in the Olympic final, picking up right where she left off in Paris. She nails a jumper from the elbow off the dribble. While she's a solid defender, she couldn't stop Caitlin Clark, who danced around her on the perimeter, spun inside, and finished at the rim while drawing the foul for an and one. Of course, Caitlin sank the free throw to complete the 3-point play. Caitlin was in control early on. Check out how she probes the defense and splits it with a perfect bounce pass to Smith under the basket for an easy layup. Diana Taurasi, the 6-time Olympic gold medalist, finally made her mark, spinning past Boston for a smooth layup off the glass. But Phoenix couldn't keep up with Indiana's youth and speed. Clark zoomed down the court, blew past Griner, took a slap to the face, and still managed to finish for another old-fashioned 3-point play. That gave her 10 points, and it wasn't even halfway through the first quarter. Watch Caitlin's awareness here. She knows the defensive attention she draws. Sophie Cunningham is face-guarding her at half court, but Caitlin drops back and creates a 4-on-3 advantage for her team. After a screen from Boston, Lou Samuelson takes advantage and catches Taurasi off guard, cutting to the basket and scoring another easy 2 for the Fever. It's the little things that don't show up in the box score that really show how advanced Caitlin Clark is for her age. Even with her taking a seat on the bench, the Fever kept up their fast-paced style. Watch as Mitchell goes coast to coast, pulls up for a mid-range jumper, and then knocks down her first 3-pointer of the game. And there she is again, top of the key, matched up with Copper. Mitchell puts the ball on the floor, steps back, launches, and scores. That's 10 first-quarter points for Kelsey Mitchell, and the Fever are pulling away early. The quarter ends with, who else? Caitlin Clark. She's out for revenge, catching and shooting a deep 3, helping the Fever take a 19-point lead. Clark finishes the first quarter with 13 points, hitting a mid-range shot at the buzzer, though her team still trails by 17 points. Caitlin's on fire, starting the second quarter just like she ended the first, with another 3 from the same spot. That's 3 triples already, bringing her up to 16 points. Absolutely unreal performance from the soon-to-be Rookie of the Year. With all her scoring, it's easy to forget she's also the WNBA's assist leader. Check out this bullet pass to NaLyssa Smith in transition, who finishes through contact for an and one. The Fever now lead 41, 18. This is turning into a blowout in Indianapolis, and it just gets worse for Phoenix. Clark doesn't let up, firing another pinpoint pass to Kelsey Mitchell for an easy layup. She could probably find a needle in a haystack with passes like this. It might be one of her best assists of the year, but honestly, she has so many of them, it's hard to keep count. Even Erica Wheeler is hitting threes in this game. The Fever's lead is now up to 28 points, and we're not even halfway through the second quarter. Finally, the Mercury gets something going, with 42-year-old Diana Taurasi coming off a screen to knock down a big three, cutting the lead to 25. Everyone's feasting in Indiana this game. NaLyssa Smith, off a pass from Clark, muscles her way inside and makes a tough shot over Sophie Cunningham. That basket makes her the third Fever player to hit double digits. Actually, make that 4, as Erica Wheeler turns the corner and dishes it off to Boston at just the right moment, bringing her total to 10 points before halftime. Indiana is dominating Phoenix inside, with a 26, 2 points in the paint advantage. Credit the Fever's defense, but there's really no excuse for Phoenix, especially with the tallest player on the court. Quietly though, Phoenix starts to build some momentum. Natasha Cloud hits back-to-back threes, and then Diana Taurasi, this time from the corner, drains another, giving the Mercury 9 quick points. This little 11-2 run becomes important later. You'll see why if you stick around to watch the full game. At the half, the Fever lead 54-37. That first half might be the best basketball Indiana has played all season. Everything we talked about, playing too slow, not playing to Caitlin's strengths, was the complete opposite today. Caitlin was able to play at her Iowa-style fast pace, outrunning the older Phoenix team and taking advantage of the Fever's youth. Clark was phenomenal, putting up 16 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists in the first half alone. Boston, Mitchell, and Smith all chipped in with over 10 points each. But it all started with Caitlin. She's the catalyst, getting everyone involved. And when her three-point shot...
Is Angel Reese, did she just run a coach out of town, and is she running a player out of town? Their best shooter out of town? Because Kennedy Carter looks like she's ready to book it out of Chicago.
When your coach doesn't last a full season and your best player is looking for the exit, it's safe to say the Chicago Sky have hit rock bottom. This isn't just a bad basketball story. This is a full-scale implosion. The Sky are mired in chaos, dealing with locker room drama, questionable leadership decisions, and star players openly considering their departure.
Now, Marina Mabrey, she's already flown the coop on this team, and it was quote-unquote because of culture. Well, what happened to the culture? Who torched the culture? Who's selfish on the team that would cause the culture to melt down?
Angel Reese's antics have reportedly left the locker room fractured, with whispers of favoritism and rising tension dividing the players. Kennedy Carter, their top scorer, recently made a social media outburst that only fanned the flames, hinting at a team that has lost its identity. Looming over it all is the aftermath of Teresa Weatherspoon's brief and turbulent tenure as head coach, a tenure that left the Sky in shambles both on and off the court. How did things get so bad? What caused the collapse of a team that once seemed so promising? And more importantly, can new head coach Tyler Marsh piece it all back together? This is a story of broken leadership, strained relationships, and a culture that has spiraled completely out of control.
A Chicago Sky franchise that's been an absolute dumpster fire since winning the WNBA championship in 2021. Let's go through some of the names that have left. James Wade, who was the coach and GM, left in the middle of the season last year to go to the NBA. Candace Parker, Emma Messman, Courtney Vandersloot, Allie Quigley, Kalia Copper was traded, Lazora Stevens. And then this year, after drafting Cardozo and Reese, they were competing for a playoff spot and traded Marina Mabrey, their veteran, before the Olympic break.
Kennedy Carter's recent Threads post was another clear signal of discontent. In her exact words, "Let's chat. Drop the WNBA teams you would like to see me sign with next year. Y'all be coaches and GMs anyway. Let's see what you think." For a player still under contract as a restricted free agent in January, this public plea speaks volumes. Carter, who averaged 17.5 points per game last season, has always been a polarizing figure, known for her scoring ability and fiery personality, but also for her controversies. Her time in Chicago has been no different, sparking as much debate for her off-court behavior as for her on-court contributions. This latest outburst doesn't just highlight Carter's dramatic tendencies, it underscores a larger issue within the organization.
When Tyler Marsh did the press conference, he talked about Angel Reese, he talked about Cardoso, who I think is going to be a star in the WNBA, but he did not really mention Kennedy Carter at all, and that raised a lot of eyebrows.
When your leading scorer is questioning her future publicly, it's not just a reflection on her, it's a damning statement about the team's internal state. This same issue reportedly drove Mabrey out mid-season, making it clear that dysfunction isn't isolated. The Sky's response, or lack thereof, has only added to the fire. New head coach Tyler Marsh avoided making any commitments regarding Carter's future.
However, new Sky coach Tyler Marsh was asked about whether he sees Kennedy Carter in the big part of what he's doing in the future during an appearance on the Athletic Women's Basketball Show. Quote, "In regards to Kennedy, she's a great player. She was a huge catalyst to what last year's team was able to do and accomplish. And obviously, she's slated to be a free agent. So once those talks are up, we'll take a look at it." Interesting. But the focus thus far has been on players who we know are under contract this coming year, and that's where the communication has been thus far.
Are they willing to embrace Carter's talent despite her baggage, or are they preparing to move on? Carter's frustrations, however, don't exist in isolation. The Sky have been plagued by rumors of favoritism, poor tactical decisions, and a coaching environment that left many players feeling unsupported. Teresa Weatherspoon's tenure as head coach was marked by mismanagement and whispers of catering to specific players, fueling resentment in the locker room. According to league sources, Weatherspoon lost the locker room by creating a culture that prioritized the needs of a few over the team.
According to league sources, Weatherspoon had lost the locker room because of a culture that catered to the needs of a few players. Dear Lord.
The backlash from Carter's Threads post has been loud and divided. Critics labeled her public complaints unprofessional and immature, while supporters pointed to the Sky's leadership as the real issue. One fan summed it up: "If even Carter wants out, you know something's seriously wrong in Chicago." Let's be fair, Carter has a history of being a polarizing figure, bouncing around the league and clashing with teams. Could she be part of the problem? Absolutely. But the Sky's broader issues go deeper than one player.
The global platform now that Caitlin will have coming into the professional ranks, so it's really a great time to be in basketball.
Caitlin Clark is clearly a catalyst for a business that was, and let's be honest, Caitlin to some degree financially saved the WNBA. It was hemorrhaging money for years.
Build, you have to scale, and ultimately expansion had always been on my list. But we didn't want to rush into it because we wanted new owners, like new ownership groups. Anyone who knows sports here knows, like, it's a slog to be a sports owner.
What would you do to stop your most valuable asset from jumping ship to a competitor? Well, the WNBA just showed the world its answer to that question. Just hours ago, Caitlin Clark, a name now synonymous with basketball excellence, made waves around the globe.
Hi, Caitlin.
Hey, what's up, Caitlin?
Yo, what's up, Caitlin?
Hey, Caitlin.
Hey, Caitlin.
Famous for her incredible shooting range and intense competitiveness, Clark was anticipated to take the WNBA to new levels after being drafted by the Indiana Fever.
The Indiana Fever select Caitlin Clark, University of Iowa.
However, Recent rumors indicate that Clark may choose to skip the WNBA and head to Europe for the attractive contracts available there. In response, the WNBA is ready to make an unprecedented offer, an ownership stake in the Indiana Fever to ensure Caitlin Clark stays in the U.S. Her arrival in the WNBA was poised to be a game changer.
Looked up how much the tickets are going for. I kind of cut that price in half.
Sites like SeatGeek are charging hundreds and thousands for a seat at Barber Hawkeye. She says the attention for the sport has grown a lot in the 15 years she's been a super fan.
After an outstanding college career in which she broke records and attracted millions of viewers, the WNBA viewed Clark as their golden ticket. Her talent for drawing crowds, boosting TV ratings, and increasing attendance to unprecedented levels made her the most anticipated rookie in recent WNBA history. The Indiana Fever, who had struggled with both attendance and performance, saw a significant rise in their numbers after drafting Clark.
And the Fever are going to be over 200,000 higher than the next highest total attendance in league history.
Many believe she has the potential to transform the franchise single-handedly. Her knack for attracting fans wasn't just a guess. During her college years, Clark's games ranked among the most viewed in women's basketball history. In her rookie season, attendance for the Indiana Fever nearly quadrupled. Her games turned into must-watch events, contributing to one of the WNBA's best seasons ever in terms of TV ratings. For the WNBA, Caitlin Clark wasn't merely a player, she represented a bright future for the league.
Caitlin Clark is clearly a catalyst for a business that was, and let's be honest, Caitlin to some degree financially saved the WNBA. It was hemorrhaging money for years.
While her WNBA debut was thrilling, Caitlin Clark was also being pursued by European teams with enticing offers. Europe, known for drawing top WNBA talent with its higher salaries and competitive environment, presented a significant temptation. Players like Breanna Stewart and
Shaq went on Angel Reese's podcast this week and shared his billion-dollar idea for the WNBA.
In the next few minutes, you'll witness the moment that rattled women's basketball to its foundation. We have Shaq, Angel Reese, and a whole lot of uncomfortable truths to unpack.
Bro, a pretty girl dunking on the rim, I'm watching that all the time. You laughing.
My man is not turned on by no woman that's dunking.
It ain't about being turned on. It's about seeing stuff that you're not supposed to see.
Here's what's ahead. We'll reveal the exact words from Shaq that made Angel uncomfortable, showcase the statistics that support his claims, and explain why this one conversation could potentially alter the future of the WNBA. Stay tuned, because this is going to be intriguing. Shaq just dropped a truth bomb that has the entire basketball world buzzing. We're talking about a 4-time NBA champion, a Hall of Famer, and a business mogul worth over $400 million. When Shaq talks, people pay attention, and he certainly had a lot to say about the WNBA. Picture this: Shaq sitting there, calm and collected, as he discusses ways to make the WNBA more exciting. His suggestion? Lower the rims. Let's roll the first clip.
And women's beach volleyball, let's just say the net is 10, but women is lower just a little bit. I'm not saying lower it to 9, 5, 9, 6, but just 9, 9.
Just so we can dunk?
Yes.
No.
No, see? And
I hate when men say that.
But listen, that's the only difference.
People always disrespect women regardless. They're always going to not give us the same value as a man. So I just don't even think that.
And that's why you got to do what you've been doing. Go take the
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, if you lower that thing to 9.
And what's going to happen? All right, tell me, the money going to go through the roof?
Yeah.
Not all the way down to the ground, of course, but just enough to change the game. He's suggesting lowering the rim to about 8 to 10 feet below the standard height. Why? So we can see some dunks naturally. You might think that doesn't sound too bad, but here's where it gets interesting. Sitting right across from Shaq, Angel Reese isn't on board with that idea. She fires back, making some compelling points about respecting women's basketball.
I feel like it still wouldn't be good enough. It's never good enough for a man. People always disrespect women regardless. They're always going to not give us the same value as a man. So I just don't even think that.
She then addressed the issue of people not tuning in to watch the game.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, if you lower that thing to 99999.
And what's gonna happen? All right, tell me, the money gonna go through the roof?
Yeah.
We don't even have the people don't even watch the game.
You can feel the tension rising as Angel contends that lowering the rim is outright disrespectful to female players. But Shaq wasn't finished. He delivered a real knockout punch.
We don't even have the people don't even watch the game.
Because I don't want to use the B word unless it's certain people playing. It's like you're watching like a high school game.
He looked Angel in the eye and compared the WNBA to high school basketball. Yes, you heard that correctly. Shaq stated, and I quote, "It's like you're watching a high school game." Can you imagine the collective gasp from WNBA players everywhere? Let's break this down for a moment. Shaq, one of the most dominant players in NBA history, just suggested that the highest level of women's professional basketball is comparable to high school boys' games. That's not merely a critique. It's a full-blown slam dunk of criticism.
Shaq, he was trying to teach Angel Reese how to make the WNBA more entertaining. So people might actually watch the product. And Shaq is qualified to do so. During his NBA career, the dude was a brilliant marketer. He knew how to be entertaining while also being dominant on the court. There was a reason that every member of the media was waiting by Shaq's locker after games. They knew he would deliver the best sound bites. They knew he would give the most entertaining interview.
You might be curious about how this will unfold. On one side, there are people agreeing with Shaq, believing he's just voicing what many have been thinking. They argue that if the WNBA wants to attract more viewers and generate more excitement, then something needs to change.
Angel Reese, just because a man is criticizing your league, it does not mean he is disrespecting women. This is the entitlement I always talk about. Angel Reese and her colleagues in the WNBA, they have this false sense of entitlement that makes them believe that they are above being criticized. Anytime they are criticized, they want to play the victim. Men don't respect women. Oh yeah?
On the flip side, there's a large group of upset fans and players who believe Shaq's comments are disrespectful and Caitlin Clark recently shared some footage of her training in Europe, and it's everything we've been looking for. This serves as the ultimate evidence of how a truly respectable league treats its star players.
No matter how the cachet of the WNBA elevates, remember, it could have been even better. You messed it up. You messed it up.
You can truly see the joy on Clark's face. She looks free, incredibly happy, and completely unbothered. Those days of putting up with cheap shots, dirty hits, and all that nonsense are behind her. There's no one poking her in the eye or hip-checking her into the stands.
So now give me the reasons why. She's gone.
And here's the best part. There's no racial tension or scheming against the league's top talent in Europe. The players focus on their game, and Clark can finally concentrate on what she does best, dominating on the court. The contrast is clear, and it's no surprise she's thriving in a league that truly knows how to honor greatness.
I have honestly never seen a company fumble the bag so hard like the WNBA fumbled Caitlin Clark.
She's playing as if she's finally free from all the nonsense, free from cheap shots, and definitely free from the relentless negativity she faced in the WNBA. It feels like a completely new Caitlin Clark, and she's clearly enjoying every moment. She's smiling, sinking threes like they're layups, and making no-look passes as if it's just another day in the park.
I think it's a good number. Threes were a little bit, I wouldn't say lower. I'll still take 63, but I want to be more so around 70 if I can. Yeah. 81 mid-range is really, really good.
There's no fear, no hesitation, and no worrying about getting smacked in the face or having someone try to take her out. In Europe, they truly appreciate talent. They love and celebrate her. She's not dodging elbows or dealing with dirty looks anymore. Finally, she's being treated like the superstar she is. It's as if she's escaped a nightmare and landed in a place where basketball is celebrated.
And it sucks that so much of it was riddled with so much drama and so much negativity and so many mishaps.
You know who's really losing it? The WNBA. That's right, the league that thought they could just sit back and let Caitlin Clark get poked in the eye, body checked and disrespected day after day. Now they're complaining about losing their star, but let's be honest, it's their own fault. They made it unbearable for her. How many times did we watch Clark take a cheap shot while the referees stood by without taking action? And what did the WNBA do about it? Nothing. They allowed it to happen repeatedly.
Like we talked about in our locker room after the game ended, where obviously people were pretty disappointed in the outcome.
Here's the thing. In Europe, they don't have that kind of drama. No Chennedy Carter blindsiding her, no Dejonai Carrington going for her eye. No one is trying to take her down just because she's different. She's not facing players who resent her simply because she's a straight white girl excelling in their league. Over there, it's all about basketball. It's pure, it's clean, and it's a genuine...
Caitlin Clark's golf debut just made me so upset with the WNBA because the LPGA just did everything that the WNBA should have been doing this season.
Caitlin Clark made waves in the world of women's sports, but this time, it wasn't on the basketball court. Her impressive debut at an LPGA Pro-Am event created quite a buzz, leaving both fans and critics amazed.
Now from this event, I have only seen and heard of positive things. I didn't hear one thing about how her fans are toxic. I didn't hear one thing about there being too much spotlight on Caitlin Clark and it should have maybe been on the professional golfers that are there. We didn't hear any of that.
While the LPGA rolled out the red carpet for her, the WNBA's lack of response was impossible to ignore. What's really happening behind the scenes?
I honestly just got so triggered by Caitlin Clark's golf debut, and it is no fault of hers that I got upset. It is the fault of the WNBA because the LPGA just did everything.
Caitlin Clark is now a household name, not only for her WNBA success, but also for her unexpected performance in golf. Her appearance at the LPGA Pro-Am wasn't just a typical celebrity cameo, it turned into a nationally spotlighted event. Fans showed up in droves, pushing for the tournament to be broadcast. And when it finally aired, the LPGA struck gold. They didn't just include Caitlin, they made her the star of the entire event.
How this Pro-Am event originally wasn't even going to be televised, but there were so many fans who were emailing the organization saying, how can we watch Caitlin? Can we come to the event? Can you live stream it? All of these things. And it ended up being put on television.
Let's break it down. The LPGA didn't just get lucky with this opportunity, they planned it with precision. They paired Caitlin with Nelly Korda, the top-ranked golfer in the world. Think about it, one of the biggest stars in women's basketball teaming up with the best golfer around. That's not a coincidence. That's smart marketing. Photos of Caitlin and Nelly were all over social media, generating a buzz that reached well beyond golf fans. Basketball lovers, golf enthusiasts, and more were instantly hooked.
Fans were really excited about that. There was so much buzz online. She was trending on Twitter, all of the things. And the LPGA was promoting the crap out of this event. And they also did something really smart by pairing her up with their currently #1 golfer in the world.
Meanwhile, the WNBA, the league that shot Caitlin to stardom, remained completely silent. They didn't tweet, post, or make any mention of her golf success. Fans definitely noticed, and it raised a lot of questions. Why wasn't her own league celebrating such a huge moment? It felt like a major missed opportunity, especially after the LPGA showed just how much star power Caitlin could bring to another sport.
There are photos of Caitlin and Nelly literally everywhere, and the LPGA was so smart in doing this because they knew that there would be so many eyeballs on Caitlin. So if they put their #1 golfer, who is currently leading the sport and pushing the sport ahead, if they put her next to Caitlyn for the entire event. That's just great. It's great for Nelly and it's great for everyone else.
It wasn't just the LPGA that jumped on Caitlyn's star power. Media outlets were all over the story too. From SportsCenter to Bleacher Report, everyone covered her every move at the event, from her swings to her interactions with fans. Everything Caitlyn did became headline news. The LPGA took full advantage of the spotlight, promoting not only Caitlyn, but also showcasing their top golfers. It was a win-win situation. In contrast, the WNBA took a different approach. Throughout Caitlyn's rookie season, many fans felt the league wasn't doing enough to promote her, despite her standout performances and the clear Caitlin Clark effect on viewership numbers. The league seemed hesitant to fully embrace her rising fame. Critics argued that the WNBA was trying too hard to evenly distribute attention, even when it was obvious Caitlyn was the main draw. This reluctance was even more noticeable during the LPGA Pro-Am. While the LPGA leaned into Caitlyn's popularity, the WNBA's silence was glaring. Fans didn't hold back, taking to social media to share their frustrations. Many pointed out that this was exactly what they'd been saying all season. The WNBA wasn't doing enough to leverage Caitlyn's popularity, so why would the WNBA hold back? Some say the league is cautious about focusing too much on one player, fearing it might overshadow others or stir up tension within the league. Others think it's a missed opportunity tied to outdated marketing tactics.
I just hope y'all know the WNBA don't pay my bills at all. I don't even think that pays one of my bills.
So I don't know if she's complaining or just stating.
Angel Reese faced heavy criticism from experts after her recent complaints about her WNBA salary not being enough to cover her rent. Apparently, she's struggling on her $73,000 salary, claiming it doesn't stretch far enough to pay for her extravagant $8,000 monthly rent, as if she's living paycheck to paycheck.
I am sympathetic to that, but yeah, sports needs villains. I don't have a problem with it. She makes the WNBA more interesting.
Reese, regarded as the league's most pampered player, appears to believe she deserves a salary increase, especially since it's been a while since she found herself in another scandal. And now, it looks like we're back to the same situation again.
Number one complaint this offseason in the WNBA would be the incessant whining about their minimum wage salaries. I mean, who could have possibly...
What exactly are you asking for more money for, Angel? You played less than 10 games this season, while Caitlin Clark put in the effort through 38. You're attracting a crowd of 7,000 fans per game.
I am sympathetic to that, but yeah, sports needs villains. I don't have a problem with it. She makes the WNBA more interesting.
And somehow, you expect to earn paychecks on the level of LeBron James? Let's be honest, it seems like you're more focused on your image than the game itself. Angel Reese, who calls herself the face of the WNBA, is acting as if life is incredibly unfair to her. She's making a WNBA salary of $73,439, but still has the audacity to complain that it doesn't cover her $8,000 monthly rent.
Now these complaints are coming from the star.
That's right. She's living in a place that costs $96,000 a year and then wonders why her finances don't make sense. I mean, how out of touch can you be? It's almost like she's forgotten basic math. Spending $8,000 a month isn't just rent. It's a lifestyle choice. The average person in Chicago, where rent is around $2,000, would be laughing in disbelief at these complaints. Most people can't afford to spend their entire paycheck on a luxury apartment and then complain about it. Yet here, we have Angel Reese playing the victim while the rest of the WNBA is out there hustling just to get by. The audacity is off the charts.
Hand pays them bills, baby. I just hope y'all know the WNBA don't pay my bills at all. I don't even think that pays one of my bills. Literally. I'm trying to think of like my rent for where I stay at.
Let's not even dive into her financial choices. With all the money she's making from endorsements, sponsorships, and her podcast, you'd think she would realize that renting an overpriced place isn't the smartest decision. But instead of making wise financial moves, like buying a house or investing, she seems to be spending money faster than most people can earn it. What's her plan exactly? Is she just waiting for a magic fairy to come and solve her problems?
I don't even know what salary. Does it really? You don't even. Yo! I'm living beyond my means. It's like.
It's both hilarious and sad at the same time. She's in a position to be a real role model for her fellow WNBA players, many of whom are genuinely struggling to make a decent living. They don't have million-dollar endorsement deals rolling in. They rely on their league salaries and are barely scraping by. Yet here's Reese complaining about rent as if she isn't surrounded by cash from every angle. It's insulting to everyone in the league who is truly fighting to stay afloat.
Playing this off-season in the WNBA.
Wow. People are done with NaLyssa Smith. Traitor. Get her off the team. Adios amigos, as that guy said.
NaLyssa Smith, the star of the Indiana Fever, might actually be at the heart of the team's struggles. Hard to believe, right? You're probably thinking, wait, isn't she one of their top players? Well, get ready because we're about to dig into what's really happening with the Fever. So, what's going on with NaLyssa Smith? And why is her future with the team suddenly uncertain? We're about to dive into all the details causing a stir in the Fever's locker room. But here's the twist. It's not what you'd expect. The reasons behind this surprising situation are going to catch you off guard.
You know, I believe truly in my heart that connected teams are winning teams. And so people who fit, players who fit the culture of the Indiana Fever and where we are and where we're moving towards.
You know something's up when a new coach starts emphasizing culture and everyone embracing their roles, right? Well, that's exactly what happened when Stephanie White took over at the Indiana Fever. Let's go back to her first press conference. It was all smiles and big ambitions, but something didn't quite add up. White kept going on about building around a core group of 3, and it felt a bit off.
Caitlin Clark, a generational player, and Aaliyah Boston, certainly when you think about back-to-back Rookie of the Years and what each of those players have done up until this point for their universities in the game of basketball, for the women's basketball culture and community, it's unprecedented. And to be able to work with those guys and Kelsey Mitchell, who I think has weathered the storm of Indiana Fever basketball, and I felt like had the best year of her career, this year. And really, when you think about teams, you think about a core 3, right? You think about a big 3, and to be able to work with that big 3.
But wait a minute. Where does NaLyssa Smith fit into all of this? You'd expect a former number 2 overall pick to be front and center, right? But no, Smith's name didn't even come up. You might be thinking, maybe she just forgot to mention Smith. But let's be real, this is a player who was supposed to be the future of the franchise.
We want players that will fit in seamlessly with our core 3, which includes Kelsey Mitchell. We want players to fit in seamlessly with the core 3. We want players that will play a role and will embrace their role. And we want players that will fit in with the culture and the team.
The new coach kept emphasizing words like unity and commitment. Pretty subtle, right? It felt like she was sending a message without saying it outright. But White didn't stop there. She kept talking about what she wants in a player. She made a point of saying that success isn't just about individual talent. It's about a team's willingness to go to battle together every single day. Is it just me? Or does that sound like she's taking a direct shot at someone?
Because every single thing that she described wanting to build around Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark, and Aaliyah Boston is the opposite of what NaLyssa Smith is.
It gets even more interesting. White started outlining what she wants in her ideal player, and it was almost as if she was reading off an anti-NaLyssa checklist. She mentioned wanting players who can embrace their roles and fit in seamlessly with the core 3. Ouch, that's got to sting if you're Smith, right? Well, it's becoming pretty clear that White's vision for the Fever's future doesn't seem to include Smith. She's focused on building a team of players who are fully committed to each other and the franchise's long-term goals. And let's be honest, with all the drama surrounding Smith lately, it's tough to see how she fits into that picture.
To another level. You know, you've got incredibly talented players right here in Caitlin and Aaliyah and Lexi, a team that was incredibly fun to watch, very tough to game plan against.
Caitlin is an amazing generational talent, and she's going to do amazing things.
Caitlin Clark's rise in the WNBA has sparked mixed reactions, but one voice has stood out in unwavering support: Satou Sabally. While some veterans have hesitated to embrace Clark's meteoric rise, Sabally has praised her talent and character openly. This vocal admiration has intrigued fans and raised questions about what Sabally sees in Clark and how it might shape her own career.
What I hope for her is that she still knows that there's a community of women around her that want her to succeed. Not everyone wants someone to fail, because if you want someone to fail, like, you're jealous, you're not great if you want someone else to fail, because you can't prove your own greatness, in my opinion. I just hope she knows.
Sabally's praise goes beyond mere compliments. She has called out those who criticize Clark out of jealousy, emphasizing the importance of celebrating talent and greatness. In a league where competition often overshadows camaraderie, her public support is refreshing. Sabally's social media activity, including liking posts about Clark's Rookie of the Year win, has added fuel to speculation about a deeper connection, potentially hinting at a desire to join Clark on the Indiana Fever.
One of the most versatile players in the league. She has such soft touch on her jump shot.
At 26, Sabally has established herself as one of the WNBA's most versatile players. A former Most Improved Player award, she combines scoring, rebounding, and playmaking with leadership on and off the court. Known for her advocacy and support for teammates, Sabally's character adds weight to her endorsement of Clark. Her comments reflect empathy for the pressures Clark faces as a young star in the spotlight, with Sabally encouraging her to block out negativity and continue excelling.
I almost said she just feels good, physically, mentally, spiritually.
Satou Sabally has been a big reason for their increased level of play, averaging career highs in points, rebounds, and assists.
Fans have speculated whether Sabally's support for Clark could translate into a move to the Fever. As a free agent, Sabally would be a valuable addition to a team already stacked with young stars like Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell. Her skill set would complement Clark's dynamic playmaking, making the Fever a championship contender. Defensively, Sabally's versatility could strengthen the team's lineup, while her leadership would enhance team chemistry.
Because there were way too many Caitlin fans in our but, like, it just kudos, because it's amazing to see so many people in women's basketball jerseys. It's amazing to see the excitement and the joy that comes out of that.
If Sabally joins the Fever, it would signal Indiana's intent to build a legacy and could attract other top-tier players to the franchise. Whether she makes this move or not, her actions highlight a cultural shift in the WNBA, one that emphasizes unity and mutual respect among players. Sabally's advocacy for Clark goes beyond basketball, showing the importance of empowering others in a highly competitive environment. As the WNBA offseason unfolds, fans eagerly await Sabally's decision. Her next move could redefine team dynamics and further her legacy as a player who not only excels on the court, but uplifts others along the way. Whether Sabally and Clark join forces or not, their connection reflects the league's growing emphasis on collaboration. A surprising figure has come forward to support Caitlin Clark. While she's been celebrated by many NBA greats, the response from the WNBA community has been mixed, often marked by envy instead of respect. It's an unusual dynamic that brings attention to the difference in how men's and women's basketball players view Clark's impressive rise. On the men's side, one of the first to openly back her was none other than Stephen Curry.
You can't help but watch when she plays, where she's shooting from, the range, the confidence, the flair, like, she's a performer.
Curry, whose long-range shooting has transformed the NBA, sees a lot of his own style in Clark's game. In an interview, he shared that while her shooting range and style are clearly similar to his, focusing only on those aspects takes away from appreciating the rest of her game.
I saw somebody break down the release time, which is pretty much identical to mine.
Curry was quick to note that although Clark's shooting grabs the spotlight, her full skill set is what truly stands out. Her court vision, passing, and ability to consistently fill up the stat sheet show she's a well-rounded player.
It's crazy though, just because her shot it's like that, it's at that level. But if you really watch, like her floor game is as impressive, so it's kind of the total package.
He described her shooting ability as her superpower, but emphasized that it's her entire skill set that truly sets her apart. LeBron James, another NBA icon, shared a similar sentiment, voicing his admiration for everything Clark has achieved on the court.
Caitlin Clark is the reason why a lot of great things is going to happen for the WNBA. But for her individually, I don't think she should get involved on nothing that's being said. Just go, have fun, enjoy.
After watching Clark dominate the scoreboard in an NCAA tournament game, LeBron James couldn't help but see similarities between her and himself. Just as he did early in his career, Clark has often shouldered the responsibility of leading her team to victory, single-handedly shifting game momentum. In his words, Caitlin Clark is the kind of player who can take over a game, lifting her teammates while still excelling on her own. A high compliment from someone who knows all about carrying a team. But there's more to Clark than her skills on the court. Being from Indiana, specifically the Indianapolis area, her rise naturally draws comparisons to one of basketball's all-time legends, Larry Bird. In the 1980s, Bird was more than just a player. He was an icon, known for his relentless work ethic, gritty style, and fierce competitiveness. So it's no surprise that as Clark kept breaking records, comparisons to Bird's Indiana-rooted style of basketball brilliance began to emerge. And it wasn't just the hometown connection drawing attention. Magic Johnson, Bird's longtime rival, also spoke about Clark's impact, comparing her budding rivalry with Angel Reese to his own storied battles with Bird in the 1980s. Johnson pointed out that while rivalries can get intense, they also raise the level of the game and draw more fans to the sport.
We have to understand that both Caitlin, Angel, and Brink, who plays for my Sparks, they made the WNBA better. They're going to be tested by these incredible women who've been in the league for a long time. Caitlin is the most popular WNBA player, but she's not the best at this time. Just like Larry and I were not the best when we entered the league. We became the best later on by our play. Caitlin still has to play great to become the best WNBA player.
In Johnson's words, Caitlin and Angel have brought back that classic spirit of basketball, where everyone's eagerly watching to see what'll happen next. It's like Larry and me all over again, he said. And now, Larry Bird himself has finally spoken up about Clark. Though he's been mostly quiet on the topic until now, Bird recently offered her some advice as she faces rising criticism both on and off the court. He urged her to keep her focus, reminding her that while critics will always be around, they won't stick. What you're doing now, Bird told her, is going to be remembered forever. The people tearing you down, they'll fade away. Trust me, I've been there.